Imagine a woman who captivated the world with her beauty, but paid a great price for her love. The great love of a man, the Shah of Iran, for her. The dramatic love story of two hearts madly in love has deeply affected millions of people for years. Are you ready to watch now? The legendary news begins. Soraya's father, Halil Isfendiari. He was a member of the Iranian aristocracy, a local tribal nobleman with lands and farms in Iran, and an important diplomat. While studying in Germany as a student, he fell in love with Eva Karl of German origin. The two opposites attracted each other, and they were soon married in 1926. After their marriage, the couple moved from Germany to Isfahan, Iran, where they began to live. On the 6th anniversary of their marriage, in 1932, their daughter was born, and since she was born on their wedding anniversary, her family considered her lucky and named her Soraya. Her mother Eva tries her best to make sure that her daughter Soraya has nothing to do with the East except her name, and tries to raise her with Western culture. Since skin and eye diseases were common among children in Iran at that time, her mother took her to Berlin to live with her parents. Later, her father also came to Berlin and they rented an apartment. Soraya had a happy childhood in Germany at that time. In the fall of 1937, her father ran out of money and they returned to Isfahan, Iran. Soraya does not find Iran strange at all. From her childhood, the Oriental blood in her veins begins to make itself felt. Iran is just like what she has heard in the tales of 1001 Nights, and she admires her homeland. She goes to a private school for Germans in Isfahan and never breaks away from German culture. After that, since her father wanted her to grow up in Iranian culture, she was educated at home by both German and Iranian teachers. Thus, he learned the best of both the Western and Eastern worlds. After 10 years in Iran, she and her family moved to Switzerland in 1947. While studying at boarding school in Switzerland, she learned to ski. She had a beauty that everyone admired. During this period, she received marriage proposals from many noble families of Iran. The year was 1950. Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the Shah of Iran, could not find happiness with his first wife, the Egyptian Princess Fawzia, and even their daughter Shahnaz was not enough to save their marriage. The Egyptian princess and the Shah's first wife, Fawzia, was as famous for her beauty as Soraya. However, due to the negative influences of the Shah's mother and siblings, Fawzia could not find happiness in marriage. Fawzia did the hardest thing a mother could do, sacrificed her daughter Shahnaz in exchange for her freedom and left her custody to the Shah in order to divorce him. Do you think this is the right thing to do? Would you sacrifice your child to gain your freedom? During these years, Shah Reza Pahlavi was searching for a second wife who could give him an heir with an empty heart. As fate would have it, Soraya went to London in the summer of 1950 to improve her English and attended the same language school as her Iranian cousins. Meanwhile, Shah Reza Pahlavi sees photos of Soraya skiing, and the Shah takes a liking to Soraya. Reza Pahlavi sends his sister Princess Shams to London to meet her and invite her to Iran on behalf of the Shah. After a while, Soraya, her father and Princess Shams traveled to Tehran to meet the Shah and his family. In Tehran, the Shah's mother invites them to the palace. There, Soraya and Shah Reza Pahlavi meet for the first time. That night, the Shah tells Soraya's father that he wants to marry his daughter. As soon as her father asks Soraya's opinion about the marriage, She immediately accepts the proposal. Soon, 3 days later, the engagement ceremony takes place at the palace. The wedding date is announced as December 27th. Soraya fell head over heels in love with Shah. She finds him handsome and intelligent and happily lives in the moment without thinking about the past and the future. Meanwhile, an unexpected sad event takes place. Soraya contracted typhoid fever. The Shah takes a close interest in Soraya throughout her illness and visits her every day. According to a rumor, he left precious jewels under her pillow every day. Finally, on February 12, 1950, the wedding ceremony took place. The marble palace where the wedding was held was decorated with fresh flowers. Soraya, in her Christian Dior wedding gown, amazes everyone with her stunning beauty. But the truth is that Soraya has just recovered from an illness. She is very weak and frail, unable to even take a step. Although the wedding dress is gorgeous, it is very heavy. The wedding dress, embroidered in silver on tulle, weighed 20 kilos. The wedding dress was so heavy for Soraya that towards the end of the wedding, the last 10 meters of Soraya dress were cut off on the instructions of the Shah so that she could walk more easily. Shah and Soraya had a dreamy 2-week honeymoon at the mansion in Babolsar on the shores of the Caspian Sea. After the honeymoon, the couple moved to live in the palace of His Highness. Shahnaz, the Shah's daughter by his first wife, was studying in Switzerland and living in Iran when she was not at school. Soraya was only 8 years older. Soraya was so madly in love with the Shah that at times she was even secretly jealous of his interest in her daughter. As time passed, she began to feel the negative influence of the Shah's mother and sisters on her and their marriage. Soraya is also very active in social life. She founded the Soraya Charity Fund, named after her. The first thing they did was to organize a charity ball at the Gulistan Palace. This money was used to help the poor. Shah and Soraya's love continues to grow throughout their marriage. In 1954, the Shah, wishing to establish relations with Western statesmen, decides to go on a trip abroad. Soraya therefore asks the Shah to buy her suitable clothes. Soraya's evening dresses are ordered from the famous fashion houses of Paris. Unfortunately, during this time, the Shah's brother Ali Reza dies in a plane crash. The Shah mourns with great sadness. After the mourning, they went to America. 4 years after their marriage, Soraya did not have a child, and rumors began to circulate among the palace and the public that she could not have children. According to Iranian law, if she could not give birth to a son in the first 5 years, she would consent to divorce, and sadly, this law was enacted by her husband, Shah Reza Pahlavi. Shah and Soraya were examined in Boston to investigate this situation, and the doctors revealed the bitter truth to them. They were told that Soraya was infertile and would never be able to have children. This news is a great shock for Soraya and the Shah. Soraya is overwhelmed with great sadness. To lift Soraya's spirits, Shah takes her to many places of entertainment in America. After America, they travel to England. Queen Elizabeth invited them for lunch. In Hamburg, Germany, they are welcomed with great enthusiasm and cheers. Unfortunately, back in Iran, Soraya has to face reality again. The child pressure on Soraya increases even more. In May 1956, they traveled to Turkey as guests of Prime Minister Adnan Menderes. According to a rumor, Princess Soraya secretly went to hot springs and sought healing to have a baby boy. But nothing would be the solution, and when the expected baby did not arrive, the cold hand of tradition would come between them. the public's wait for an heir stands in the way of their undying love. Her inability to have a child drives a wedge between her and the Shah. The pressure mounts. Soraya is still madly in love with Shah. Soraya makes a proposal to the Shah to find out what he thinks. First, she suggests the son of the Shah's dead brother or his daughter Shahnaz as his heir. But the Shah firmly rejects these proposals. Soraya, in great sorrow trying to silence the voice of her heart, says to Shah Reza Pahlavi, "Then there is only one thing left for us to do, to separate." Deep down inside, she really wishes the Shah would oppose this. But unfortunately, although the Shah did not want to hear the idea of separation at first, as time passed, he embraced it. On February 13, 1958, in the 7th year of their marriage, Soraya leaves Tehran, heartbroken and still full of love for the Shah. She goes to St. Moritz, in Switzerland. Those who came to see Soraya off at the airport thought she was going skiing, but only the Shah and Soraya knew that she would never return. When Soraya went back to her family in Cologne, the Shah sent a delegation. The delegation brought Soraya a proposal from the Shah about their marriage. Soraya listens to the proposal with palpitations in her heart, wishing that the Shah would call her back unconditionally to this home built on a great love. And Soraya gets the shock of her life. According to this proposal, the Shah will marry a second time in order to have children, and Soraya will continue to be empress. Soraya takes this offer as an insult. In a great rage, she flatly refuses this unexpected offer. This was not the answer she wants. In this sad love story, do you think Soraya did the right thing? Should she have accepted a second wife to make her beloved and madly in love husband happy? At first, Shah Reza Pahlavi does not want to lose his great love. He tries to convince Soraya by making phone calls. But Soraya, who grew up with Western upbringing, firmly rejects the offer again. She still had hope that the Shah loved her too, and that he would find other solutions to keep her. But this would be their last phone call before parting. On March 14th, Shah Reza Pahlavi officially announced his divorce from Empress Soraya, and a few days later he sent a letter saying that he was very sorry. Soraya is devastated by this unexpected divorce news, and the young princess is heartbroken. Soraya is so hurt and sad that she does not write back to him. Later, Shah sends all her personal belongings and jewellery to Cologne. Only then does Soraya realise that the marriage is completely over. She falls into a deep depression. But time heals everything. In time, her heartache eases, but she carries the love of the Shah in her heart forever. He is her first and only one, and only love. After the divorce, Princess Soraya expresses the feelings of the Shah that caused her broken heart and her resentment towards him as follows. Nowhere in the world is woman loved as ardently and sincerely as in the East. But nowhere in the world does this love end as quickly as in the East. But Shah is also very sad about this separation and is still in love with Soraya. In his memoirs, the Shah writes about his feelings when he had to part with his beloved. One can imagine how sad we both were when I had to separate from Empress Soraya for the sake of the state. Perhaps this is how the Shah expressed his regret at having to divorce his beloved wife. Do you think so? Contrary to popular belief, the Shah did not give Soraya much money to live on when they divorced. But even during their marriage, the Shah of Iran thought about his beloved wife. During the 7 years they were married, he had put land, property, and money on Soraya's name so that she would be able to live comfortably for the rest of her life, in case anything happened to him. In addition, After their divorce, the Shah gave Soraya the title of princess, which belonged to members of the dynasty. Thus, Soraya was a sad, heartbroken, and at the same time very wealthy princess when they divorced. After her divorce, Soraya became a favourite of the paparazzi, and they wouldn't leave her alone. Soraya's painful and sad love story becomes a good news source for them, and they call her the Sad Princess and the Green-Eyed Sad Princess. With the paparazzi chasing her and writing about her, she cannot experience her pain and sorrow as she would like. Shah Reza Pahlavi married Farah in 1959, shortly after his divorce from Soraya, and 9 months later, he got the heir he wanted so much. Soraya tries to build a different life for herself and to get Shah out of her heart. But this process is very difficult for her. Even though her hopes are dashed, Soraya does not give up on forging new paths for herself. In 1963, Soraya, who had wanted to become a movie star since she was a young girl, played the lead role in the movie 3 Faces of a Woman, produced by Dino De Laurentiis. But the movie was soon withdrawn from theatres, and Soraya kept only 1 copy. Rumour has it that the Shah bought all the copies because he still couldn't forget his old love. Meanwhile, Princess Soraya, trying to bury her old love in her heart, begins to fall in love with Franco Indovina, one of the directors of this movie. But Princess Soraya's relationship does not have a happy ending either. After 5 years of their relationship, Franco dies in a plane crash in 1972. In 1979, Soraya's life takes another dark turn. She learns that her one and only love, Shah Mohammad Reza, has cancer and will be dead within months. They have been separated for more than 20 years, but Soraya cannot help writing a letter to him, to the love she cannot forget. The content of the letter is heartbreaking. In it, Soraya swears that she has never stopped loving him, and also swears that if he accepts her, she wants to see him one last time before she dies. In her letter, Soraya says to the Shah, "If I knew that I would go through all this again, I would marry you and never regret it." In his reply, Mohammad Reza confesses that he, too, still loves her. Without his wife Farah by his side, he wanted to meet his long-lost love secretly and alone, and to say goodbye to the love he still loved face to face. According to a rumour, a secret and lonely meeting place in Cairo is arranged for Shah and Soraya. Unfortunately, the meeting of these 2 broken hearts still in love never takes place. Shah died shortly before the meeting on July 27, 1980. Soraya was completely devastated after the death of her only love. She spent the rest of her life alone in her apartment in a fashionable Parisian neighbourhood, surrounded by a circle of noble friends. On October 25, 2001, a quiet farewell takes place in Paris. The 69-year-old Princess Soraya's heart, filled with the love of her beloved Shah, dies alone in her Parisian apartment. Just like her life, her death is silent and solitary. After a funeral for 400 people in Paris, she was buried quietly in Munich at the request of her relatives. Princess Soraya's story is filled with both tragic and epic love. And this tragic love story goes down in history as one of the most unforgettable love stories of our time. Although her hopes were crushed, Soraya did not give up on forging new paths for herself, but carrying her one and only love, her Shah, in her heart forever.